This video is all about cardiovascular training. When you're doing cardio, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. One way is to exercise at a really high intensity to the point where you breathe really heavily and you burn a lot of calories. That is a really good way to train cardio, but it's not the one that I want to talk about because that's the one most people seem to be familiar with. The one I want to talk more about is keeping your mouth closed when you do your cardio. There's an important reason for that. When you start to open your mouth, an open mouth running cardio is an external sign of what's happening inside your body. When you're walking around doing your normal day-to-day exercise, your body is using primarily fat as a source of fuel to provide you for energy. The process of your body breaking down fat to use for energy is a pretty complex one, so it takes a lot of different elements, including oxygen. When you start exercising beyond your body's ability to exchange oxygen well, your body stops burning fat and switches over to using carbohydrate as your source of fuel for energy. Now, that's not a bad thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you should always exercise at low intensities to be able to use fat as a source of fuel. In fact, exercising at really high intensities is a really good way to do it because you actually burn considerably more calories overall, and you burn calories for longer after your workout. But because of the body's ability to use more calories at higher intensities, people oftentimes forget about the importance of training at lower intensities. One of the easiest ways that you can do this is to simply do a cardio session for about 20 to 30 minutes, and you have to keep your mouth closed the entire time you're doing your cardio. That's significantly more difficult to do than running with your mouth open, but it can train you to do a few different things. Number one is it actually helps you to be able to train the part of your system that uses fat as a source of fuel so that you get better at it over time, which means that you don't use as much carbohydrate from your muscles, which means that you can exercise for longer before your muscles die out on you. The other reason this is important is that it actually helps to train your diaphragm. Now, as far as we've been understanding the way that the body works, we've gotten to deeper levels of understanding your core. First, we started to talk about how you want to work on the muscles in the front, and then we started talking about how you want to work on the muscles in your sides to get stronger. And now we've come to understand that the deepest level of strength that you can access is your diaphragm. Diaphragm is this little muscle that I talk about all the time, starts from one side of your rib cage, goes up and connects with the other side of the rib cage. Because we suck our stomachs in, it starts to push all of our breathing up into our necks. We get stiff necks, we get neck pain, we get tight chest and shoulders, we get shoulder pain, all that stuff. And a lot of that is just because we're no longer using our actual diaphragm to breathe. So when you force yourself to close mouth breathe, you are forcing your diaphragm to work harder, which means you have a stronger core long term. Another thing I'm dabbling with a little bit is these elevation training masks. If you've never seen one of these, I was actually shocked to find that there's actually some studies supporting that it can provide you some benefit. And I specifically wonder about the group of people who need a little bit more core muscular strength and diaphragm strength, whether or not this can really help them. When you're doing your at-home workouts, what's it going to hurt? You slap this thing on, go like this. Luke. And it makes it harder for you to inhale and exhale, which makes it harder on your breathing muscles. Now, does a fit person who exercises regularly need this? No, you don't need this. Does a beginner person need this? No, you don't need this. But if you're exercising at home and you're looking for something that's a little bit more of an added challenge, this may be what you're looking for. One of the other areas that I really enjoy working with is morning fasted cardio. What I mean by that is that you wake up right in the morning before you consume anything, you do 10 to 30 minutes of cardio with your mouth closed. That could mean going for a run, it could mean jumping rope, whatever. You just go as hard as you can and keep your mouth closed the whole time. Now, this fasted cardio doesn't make a big difference for people who are 23 and under as an example. But as we get towards 30 years old, we start to lose what's called metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is your body's ability to switch between using fats as a source of fuel and using sugar from your muscles as a source of fuel. Now, what I'm about to tell you is all theory, so take it with a grain of salt, but it's something I've seen some evidence with in working with clients. My hypothesis is that when you were under 30 and let's say you went to play basketball, you'd run down the court and you do a big, heavy sprinting movement and your body would be using sugar from your muscles as a source of fuel to get you to the other end. Once you stopped and you start breathing, your body would immediately switch over and start using fat as a source of fuel, which does two things. It uses fat out of your system, and it also saves muscular sugar so that you can continue to jump high and sprint hard. Because once you use up all the sugar out of your muscles, you've got to eat more to fuel your muscles again. In the end, that allows you to produce a stronger, harder contraction with jumping, which means you train your muscles more, and allows you to burn a higher percentage of fat. In the morning, right after you wake up and you haven't eaten anything because you've been fasting for 7 or 8 hours while you sleep, your body is already primed to use fat as a source of fuel. And there are repeated studies that show that you will oxidize more fat if you exercise right in the morning or having not eaten than after you've eaten. My hypothesis then is that if you do some fasted cardio right in the morning, that it will allow you to use more fat and allow you to save more muscle sugar so that you can burn some fat in the morning and then do a heavier, higher intensity workout later on in the day. In the end, I just think cardio is a great tool, and I think sometimes it's been over-demonized. But if you consider adding 10 to 30 minutes of fasted cardio to your exercise right in the morning, and then consider doing that cardio with your mouth completely closed, and then allow yourself to do open mouth, heavy, high-intensity breathing later on when you do resistance training, I think it creates the perfect, well-rounded exercise session to give your body the best results.